All right, let's do this. So grenades. I've been working on it for a while, and I suck at programming, so taking me a while. I apologize, but here we go. I mean, obviously, the first thing that you do whenever you're working in Lyra, doing anything kind of new, I guess, is you do the actions, right? So the first actions that we're doing, it's going to be this ADS, or sorry, not the ADS. It's not the AI ADS. It's IA cancel. We're going to make, I think grenade was already there. IA item base, IA item inventory, and then you don't have to. I did, is I expanded the Quickslots, right? So I made IA item Quickslot. All of these, so I'll just show you cancel. It's default. There's nothing in there. Quickslot though, you do have to have a trigger on this one. Maybe not. I don't know. The other ones do, right? So like if you go into Quickslots 3, which I didn't make, it's got the pressed. So I copy what other people do. Makes it easier. And then it works out. So just make sure you make those. Was that 4 of them? 3. I guess you don't need that Quickslot 4. If you do though, let me show you. To expand the Quickslot, it's really not a ton of work. It's in your Lyra Quickbar component, the H file. I added slot 5, and then in here, as long as your num slots, I think it was originally 2 or 3. I ended up changing it. This works. I guess if I want to. Oh, I did it this way because I'm going to expand the number of slots. Maybe not. I don't know. I might do that in a future video. But that's what that is. So that's how you do that. It's just those two things. I think it's those 2 things. If I end up going to more slot stuff in a future video, I'll cover that. But just so you know, and then you're going to, how you implement that is then going into Quickslot 4. Oh yeah, I was doing that other video where I was like, don't do this because it messes everything up. It's that Quickslot 4. You add that one. You ignore all these. In fact, I'm just gonna delete those. Those are something else that didn't work out. I guess it did work. Maybe it didn't work. I don't know. Anyways, okay, so back to, let me compile and save. Back to the grenades. So once you have those, the next thing that you want to do is, you're going to go into, I don't know if I've showed you guys this, where, like, let me go to world settings, game mode. Yeah, it's this one. So let's open this one up. So you've got the shooter game elimination. I have essentially, I'm not modifying, I have modified, oh, not that one. Like the shooter hero, the hero data shooter game. I'm trying to think of where I have these. Yeah, so I didn't modify the ability set shooter hero. I left it as is. I made my own. So if I open up this ability set, do I have the ability set here? Yeah. So this is, and I had it over here so I can go back and forth between the 2. So these are the extensions that I've done. And then this is all the core. So this is what I was going to say. So you have to remove, this is the grenade, right? So this is what is the ability of a grenade. You're going to have to delete this. And this is in that shooter ability. We're going to add stuff into here, but let me first do the input. So there's 3 data files, I guess, that you're going to have to add or edit. And it's going to be this input data carbon game add-ons. I guess it could just be the input data shooter game, I think is what it would be if you just want to put them in there. But I've got all of them in here. So the only 2 that I have is this item inventory and item base. Arguably, you don't have to do the item inventory if you're just doing grenades. I did it to where I've tied it to I. So if I load in here and I hold down I, you show the inventory, right? And it's funny because notice in the quick slot in the bottom right, it's pistol, rifle, grenades. But in the inventory, it's pistol, grenade, rifle. So if I actually go pick up the shotgun, if I go to my inventory, now you see that I've got a shotgun. So I might do something like that in the future where I have In fact, let me show you. So like, if you've got different types of grenades, you could potentially then like, I'd have to do something where you can detach. Almost, no, that doesn't work, but you detach and then throw it. And I'm trying to point to the screen. You guys obviously can't see me pointing. Sorry. But where it basically grabs here and then you drop into the quick bar. Okay, so then where was I? Yeah, so that's the inventory. And then I tied it to, so again, this is another one I did carbon game. So just find where the mapping, so it's this, the shooter game add-ons, the IMC shooter game, and then the ability set, right? So I just like how you have, or I showed you how I've got the ability set shooter hero and the ability set carbon hero. All of these, the mapping, it's going to be the same way. Shooter game shared. Let me just open this one up. Yeah, so see, this is the shooter game add-ons, carbon game add-ons. So as long as, I mean, you can add it to either one. I've just kept them separately separately. I've kept them separate to make it easier for myself. So again, I have LMNOP. Sorry. So where's the, it's item. So item inventory and item base, right? So I've tied the inventory to I and then the base to G is the grenade. And that's because I'm going to be calling different grenades with that G button. I actually haven't mapped out the keyboard yet. I've got, the controllers mapped out how I want them, but not the keyboard. I'll work on that one later. And then we're going to go to the ability set. So we're going to have this GA inventory, GA item base, GA cancel, and then we're going to be doing another one. So let me go back to abilities. It says this GA cancel, and that's just a normal Lyra gameplay ability. We're going to do GA grenade base. And notice this one is actually a Lyra gameplay ability from equipment. That's important. The original one was just a regular Lyra ability. This one has to be from equipment because there's some functions that are specific to that we're going to have to use. And then we're going to have this item base and then the inventory. So the inventory is just its normal widget wall input held. And then we're calling this W inventory screen. So I actually copied everything from the Shooter Explorer into here and changed it, but you could just use those. I don't know why I did that. You could probably just go ahead and use them right out of the Shooter Explorer plugin. I copied everything over and made my own. So again, this one's not on the how to do the inventory thing. I might do that in a separate video, but this is just on the grenades. But when I was testing, I had to see where stuff was, so I ended up programming that in the meantime. But again, so you've got this cancel, you've got the grenade base, and then you've got this item base, and then the inventory. So this is the ability while held, and then this is just the regular Lyra gameplay ability. So the first one I will open up. I'll probably do cancel just because it's pretty easy. So on the activate ability, I don't think I'm calling this with, no, so there's no triggers or anything on it. Pretty clean. So I'm going to be right on the activate ability. I'm going to get the Lyra character from actor info. I'm going to send a gameplay event to actor. Now this is actually, it's kind of cool how this works. We're going to make the gameplay event data and you just leave it stock, right? I've got nothing in there. But it says input tag ability cancel. So the reason why we're sending this, I actually don't know why this is the, yeah, I guess you could do whatever tag you want. Because it's not like, am I? I don't know. I would just do it that way. Sometimes the tags get a little wonky. Maybe I should show that. So I have this input tag item inventory, input tag item base. Yeah, so I'm not actually calling that off of an input action. So I guess you could call it, maybe I am. You could probably call it something else if you want. Sometimes, like I said, I get the input tags confused. I start mixing them up. It takes a little bit to debug, but this one works, right? And then we're just end the ability. So all we're doing is we're calling this input tag, not calling, but I guess we're sending it to our actor, our Lyra character. And the reason for that is then in this grenade, no, it's not the grenade base. I'm going to get to that one in a second. It's this GA item base. So the reason why I've done this is I'm actually going to be using this to call not just the grenades, but other abilities too. So if you want like a rocket launcher, things like that. Think of, if you guys have ever done like Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, you can call, I guess, your inventory, and then you can use it or you can cancel it. That's why I have this cancel. So if you're playing it, I have on here, let me show you. So I'll go to call a grenade, right? So if I hold down, and I've got it tied to the G button, so I hold down the G, my character goes into, and I could play an animation where I've, you know, I'm getting ready to throw it. Once I release the G, I throw the grenade, right? So notice then I've used up a grenade. I'll go back to my pistol. So I hold it, I holster the pistol, pull out the grenade. Now if I am still holding G, if I hit H, I've canceled it. So I'm still actually holding G. Now I let go of G, right? So notice in the top left. So again, I'll do that one more time. I'm going to hold G, so server ready to fire. I'm going to hit H, which cancels the ability, and then I let go of G. So now in this, is this the grenade? That's the grenade base, item base. So here's how that works. So this is just a normal Lyra gameplay ability. Class defaults, there's nothing special here. Class settings, nope. So I'm doing a couple things. So I've got a quick bar component, which, well, maybe that's stock in the gameplay ability. I don't remember, but if it's not, make sure you add it. It should be though. Really, I think the only two things I have is this integer for the active slot. One of the things, to be honest, if you don't do if you haven't followed some of my other videos, I actually have this slot, right? So let me show you. In here, I have custom functions where I'm getting a fragment by class and I have a weapon slot. So I'm actually slotting every single time. If you can notice, it's pistol, rifle, grenade. So it's not that I'm getting the first open slot and adding it there, which is how Lyra comes out of the box. I'm putting all of my things, specifically my pistol, my rifles, my grenades. I actually have this in slot 1, which is index 2. This is slot 2, which is index 3. Slot 3, which is index 4. It's because arrays work on 0. If you're a programmer, you know that. If not, hopefully you've picked up enough while working in Lyra, I guess. But my melee ability, I had it in here before where it was a slot, but I'm not going to add it in there where it's, maybe I will. I don't know. Maybe I might move the grenade. I don't know. I haven't worked on the UI yet. However, I think you have to, I don't know how to program it, to be honest, if you're using it right out of the box. I'm sure you could. It's just going to be a little bit different from mine. So how this works is we're going to activate the ability. So that's where you saw me printing ready to fire. Now we're going to wait the input released. While we're waiting for that, we're actually going to wait a gameplay event, and that's this input tag ability cancel. I guess the reason why I put input tag ability cancel is anytime I do an input, I have that input tag, right? So I guess all of the, all of like the actions, they're all tied to this input. Anytime you do it, it's an input. And it makes it easier for me, I guess, to remember. I remember anytime I call something, I do that input tag. So it's this ability cancel. And it's only an exact match because we're sending it through this, this gameplay ability. We're sending this gameplay event. And it's really important, this gameplay event, because I'm going to get into, what is it? Is it tags? Down here. I'll show you that in a second. So anyways, so we're waiting this gameplay event. If we get it, before I get to that. So while we're waiting, we're going to get the slot that we're in, right? So we're going to get the quick bar. We're going to save it. We're going to get the slot from our quick bar. I guess you could just plug that in there. We're going to set that to this active slot, right? And then we're going to set our current active slot to 3, the index 3. So that is slot 4 index. I think it's slot 4, index 3, right? Either way, that's where the grenades are. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3. So this is technically the 4th slot, right? If you go back here, I can close this one out. Go back to here. Yeah, so slot 0, right? So slot 0, it's slot 1, slot 2, and slot 3. And it's because I've got Quickslot 4, Quickslot. I guess that's just how Lyra did it. I just copied what the guys at Unreal did. But again, arrays start with 0, so it's 0, 1, 2, 3. So it's the 4th one, but it's 3. Hopefully that's not too confusing. Or just put me on mute and copy the code. You can read it, you can see it. Anyways, so that is running, I forget what it's called, in sync or concurrent, whatever. That's what it does while it's waiting. So if we get this, right? So if we hit the cancel button, so if it's received, we're going to set this Boolean to being canceled, right? So we're canceling the Boolean. And then we're setting our active slot back to our original slot, right? So if we had the pistol out, we put the pistol away, we pull out our grenade. Here, if we cancel it, we're re-equipping the grenade. We're not ending the ability yet, though, because we're still waiting that input release, right? So none of these, neither of these, have that end ability. After we get that, so if we cancel the ability, this Boolean has been checked. Now it's true. Starting off as false, but now we set it as true, or not, right? Like if we didn't cancel the ability, when we release the button, that's where we're going to check. If it was canceled, we're going to travel this route. And if it's not canceled, here's where we throw the grenade. So if it is canceled, we just end the ability. We're going to reset this to canceled, end the ability, because we've already equipped, right? We've canceled it. We've already equipped this. If we didn't cancel it, right, that's where we're going to come down and we're going to apply gameplay effect to owner. I guess technically you could do send gameplay event to actor, and that's this item tag item or input tag item use, or we can do this gameplay effect. Now this gameplay effect, I will show you that. I think all gameplay effects have to be in this gameplay effects folder. I don't remember. I think I saw them talking about that. Anyways, so we're going to do this gameplay effect use item, and I think all I did was copy this hipfire that I did earlier. But it's a basic gameplay effect. It has a duration, 1 second. I think it could probably be, so this magnitude, that's the duration, right? It's not the period. I don't know why. Period, you would think period of time, but it's magnitude, so it's 1 second. And then we are granting a tag to our target actor, and it's this input item use, right? So we're granting the tag to our Lyra character with this gameplay effect. Now, the other thing that we could do, and it's equally as, but you have to remember which one you do. You can do either one of these, right, where you're going to send a gameplay event to actor. If you know what, if there's any other programmers that know Unreal that are watching my stupid videos and you're like, this guy's an idiot, but sometimes he does good stuff, or I'm just enthralled at how stupid he is and have to watch his videos. Anyone who knows better than I do the difference between these two, when it's better to use either one, let me know. I was doing both of them. But it's going to matter when I get to another spot, and I'll tell you, because you have to check a certain thing to work with either one. I hope that makes sense. Anyways, let's go with the gameplay effect, right? We're going to do the gameplay effect for right now. So you apply the gameplay effect to the owner. Remember, because we didn't cancel, we have to set the active slot. We have to set our slot back to our previously active slot, and then we end the ability. Now, what this does is this is going to call, just like a pistol, when you fire the pistol, we're going to create this one right here, this GA grenade base. Now, I copied a lot of this from just the standard grenade. Some of it I didn't, though. And something to get into is this gameplay queue GCN parameter, and we do need the IDs. But these two, you don't necessarily have to have these two. I'll get into that in a minute. I was trying to do something and it didn't work. Anyone, again, if there's anyone who like works for Unreal who's like, oh, I know what those are, or how to use those, let me know, because I couldn't get them to work. And this has to do with reloading, and I'll get to that in a second. But anyways, so you're going to have, I think a lot of these variables. I mean, just look, right? Because I don't know what one's what, but we've got an anim montage, I think that's how you say it. I don't know, the accents. I'm from the Midwest. Anyways, so our location's a vector. Directions is a rotator. I think these came straight from the grenade ability. All of these did, this UI extension. But then the ones that I had to add separately are this failure montage delay timer, which, again, I don't think I've used that. So I don't know if you need that. But you definitely need this. I don't know if you need that one either. Sorry. You need this item instance. That one I definitely know you need. I forget where I copied that from. It's Lyra inventory item instance type. Anyway, so we're going to get associated item. Now this is why we have to have this be the gameplay ability from equipment. This function is only in, right? So let me open up Writer. So this function is in, this is a subclass or a child class, whatever you call it. I guess either one interchangeable. Maybe they're not. I don't know. It's been a while since I took programming classes. So this Lyra gameplay ability from equipment. Let me open the H file. Include, extend. Yeah, gameplay ability. So anyways, yeah, so this is it. It extends this one, but this function is what you need. And that's this right here. So here we're getting the equipment or the item instance, right? So we're going to set that because we're going to call it later. So we're going to check to see if our magazine size, so right, this is this Lyra shooter weapon or shooter game weapon magazine ammo. We're going to check to see if that's 0. If it's 0, right, we're going to end the ability, which means we can't throw a grenade anymore. We've used up all of our grenades. If it's not, this is the code straight, I think it's straight from the Lyra grenade ability. Let me actually look that up for you guys. I'll go through it, but I at least want to see what it looks like. Yeah, so basically I copy from, I got rid of a lot of this. I don't know why some of this stuff is what it is. I think that has to do with like it being a cooldown ability, stuff like that. Yeah, so we're checking the cooldown call. We don't need to do that. So this is what I have. So starting here and then going, I think I just copied all of it. Maybe not the duration. I didn't copy that. I ended it here. So it's basically just this. So you copy that. Then I think that's, yes, that's where you get all of these, right? Maybe not all of them. Maybe you don't need all of them. But anyways, so you copy that and you're going to paste that here, right? So that's where you're going to have this get spawned location. Let me look at that. Get spawn rotation. You can see all of that. If you need to, hit pause. Again, we just copy it off of the other one, but just in case for whatever reason you don't know. If we have authority, we are going to then spawn the actor. We got this class. Yeah, I'm going to set that in I'm actually making a child of this, and I'll show that later, because we're going to be doing different types of grenades. I'm going to do smoke grenades, big grenades, little grenades, anti-personnel, all sorts of cool things. We're going to get the Lyra character as actor info. Again, all of this is copied. And then we're going to play the montage. Now, here's where it gets a little different. I've tried a whole bunch of different things. On here, we're just going to end the ability, right? So uncompleted, interrupted, canceled. However, what we're going to do is remove stat tag stack. And this is where we're going to remove 1 from our grenade, its magazine. Okay? And then if the grenade's spare ammo is greater than 0, we are going to remove 1 from the spare ammo and then add it to the magazine. Basically a quick reload, if you will. The reason why I mention this is I think that's how the pistol is handled. I'll get to that later, where that is. I left it in. I might still play with that, and then I can delete all of this. I don't know what's cleaner, to be honest. I mean, it's not a ton of logic in here to be able to do this. I think I'd still have to do that anyways. I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, so I've left that in there for now. If you don't want to, if you just want to keep this the way that this is, you don't need this. But I'll come back to that. Okay, so anyways, so once we have this grenade base done, then what we want to do is we're going to make our, if I can get to it, I'm going to put all of the weapons that I'm making for my game specifically in here. So I've got grenades. As of right now, I only have the M67 fragmentation grenade. I basically just kind of copied all the things from the pistol, but I've got an ability set, and I have this GA grenade M67, right? And that's the child. Notice there's no input tag, right? Because that is being called, I don't know, actually. It works. There's a reason why I did it this way. But anyways, don't put an input tag here. Normally, like on the pistol, I think it has like, this is weapon fire. This is how you call this. But we're calling it somewhere else. So don't put an input tag here. There's a reason for it. I don't remember what, but there is, I promise. So the next thing would be you create a B weapon blueprint. Again, just copy everything that's in the pistol one, right? So if we go into the pistol, I mean, if you want a reticle, you can do a reticle. It essentially works the same way as the grenade ability. We're turning the grenade ability into an inventory item. It doesn't need to be, I'll show you in 1 second. So let's go back. Grenade. So this is the, what is this? The B weapon. I think, yeah, so I mean, you can see I copied it, but I think I overwrote it. You could probably just clear these out, to be honest. I just getting everything up and running. So this one is a lot more complex than I remember. I think this might be a copy of the grenade, to be honest. So this is the projectile. So let me go back and look. Let me make sure, because I believe I copied the other thing. It's important to note which ones you copy from the pistol, which ones you copy from the grenade. Yeah, so I literally just copied the grenade, and then the only thing that I did differently, I don't know, was the mesh, right? So I have, let me go into this in a second. So so this is in the content, right? So this is where all of the meshes live. I've got this M67. I've got two M67s. I've got a reason why I'm doing two different ones. I've got an M84 grenade, which is going to be, what's that? Is it the flashbang? Yeah, that's a flashbang. I'm going to be doing the 9-banger. I'm going to be doing an MK18 smoke grenade in a myriad of colors. I am doing a Russian? Is this the Russian? The RGD5 grenade, and then the RGN, which is kind of cool. But notice I've got spoon and no spoon, RGO, RGN, RGO. I've got a couple different grenades, I guess. Yeah, these are different grenades. So one of the things that I did is I think, and I'll have the link in the description to, I think, where I got them. I forgot what website it is. It'll be on there. But let me open this. So notice, my computer's taking a little bit to load. So I've got with spoon, without spoon. I guess you don't really need to. You could throw it with the spoon and ring and everything. I just thought it'd be cooler when your character throws it. When I work on animations, that they're going to be throwing it without the spoon and without the ring. So I think I just exported it into Blender, deleted that mesh, and then so I've got it for all of them, right? So I've got spoon, no spoon. Okay, so once you have all of those, use those meshes, right? So this is just a normal, this is a B weapon, and then the projectile is a copy of the grenade. And I think it's important to do both of those in that, because I think you spawn this one for, I don't know, maybe this could probably just be a regular actor, to be honest. But it's important that that one that spawns, the projectile, is a copy of the grenade, because there's some logic in there. I'm not going to go through all of this logic. literally it's a copy of the grenade. When I go into smoke grenades and stuff like that, yeah, I'll show you all of that. That will be in upcoming videos. Okay, so then the next one is this B weapon instance M67. Pretty clean, right? I don't have anything in here. I don't have an equip montage, an unequip montage, attack montage, any of this stuff. I might have to go through and, like, if you have pulling the pin, or I'll eventually get into where, you know, I go with the character is kind of holding it like he's going to throw it, things like that. But yeah, it's pretty clean. Then the next one is this GA grenade M67. Here I have the grenade throw montage, and I may have copied this right from the grenades. So some of the things no, maybe not. But that's the grenade montage. I haven't changed that at all. Here is the grenade projectile. Gameplay cue. So this is one of the things I added. I should probably go back. I think I just closed that one out. Which is one of the ones I needed, maybe? Oh yeah, so if you delete these, those will get pulled out of here, right? So you could probably get rid of this. I'm not using this. I'm also not using this. This is what I was talking about. This is where, if on like the pistol, you change this to 2 every time you shoot the gun, you shoot the pistol. Like if you shoot the shotgun, I think this is like a 9 or something like that. That's double up buck is 9. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's 4. I don't know, whatever the shotgun uses. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe someone did a video with a double barrel shotgun that does 2. Either way, you don't need this. I'm not using it. In the base, this handles all of the reloading and ammo checks and everything, so you don't actually need this. You do need this though. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know if I'm using it. This is what you need. Sorry. Yes. This is why we don't have the tag in here. It is on this ability. Is it? Yeah. Yeah, if you put it on there, it's not going to work. It has to be in here. Maybe. I don't know. Go ahead and try it. I just have it this way. This works for me. You saw in the video. This works. But yeah, so this is where you call the ability. All right, one thing that I have to touch base on, because I mentioned it earlier, this input tag item use, it has to be, this trigger source has to be owned tag added, right? And that is going to, I've got to open back up the item base and close that out. But that is what allows this gameplay effect to be used. If we wanted to do this send gameplay event to actor, that is where we would do, we can change this to gameplay event. So if you use gameplay event, that will work with the send gameplay event to actor. And if we're using the gameplay effect tag, that's where we're going to use the input tag, the owned tag added. Okay, so now you might be able to get rid of this. I don't know. I think I copied this again. If you delete these, you won't need these. I don't think. Some of these. I don't know. Either one. It works without those. I was just trying to get it to work with it. Okay, so then the next one is this ID M67. This one's a little bit more complicated. Okay, so display name M67. So we're going to have 6 fragments, right? Very similar to any of the other weapons if you've worked with any of those. Inventory fragment, equip item. It's an equipment definition. That's the WID M67. We'll get to that one next, I believe. Then we're going to have the quick bar icon. So I actually made this one in Photoshop. I don't know if I showed you how to make those when I did the melee one. It's not exactly. It kind of has the white with the blue glow. I think my lines are way too thin compared to where they are, so I'll make it. But I think I drew a circle, squished the top, added a bar, rounded the edges. I drew that by hand. I don't know. And then did like a Gaussian blur. Copied it, changed it to blue, Gaussian blur, top and white. I think I did the Gaussian blur twice. Probably should just do a big blue circle and a Gaussian blur behind it to make it look more like some of the others. I don't know. They work for now. Like I said, I haven't worked on the UI quite yet. Let me go back to the ID. But that one is there. You do have to have an ammo brush. I learned the hard way. I don't know if I maybe talked about that in my melee video. It has to be black. If you leave this blank, this won't show up in the quick bar. And it was driving me insane. And I was like, oh, wait. I looked at what I did with the melee one and I had that. So you have to have that. Don't leave it blank. You can look, I think I've opened up everything so you can kind of see. Display name when equipped, M67. And so then the next one is inventory fragment set stats. So this is where you're determining magazine size, magazine ammo, magazine size, magazine ammo, I don't know, and then spare ammo. One of the things that I'm going to do, so this is you can carry up to 5 grenades. I might make this smaller. One of the things that I'm going to do that I think would be really cool is, you know how the characters are all supposed to be like incognito in my game? I'm going to be kind of cool where like you can go overt, throw on like a tac vest, like the Nairobi SAS dude, right? So like you're chilling at the beach wearing flops, and then you run to your car and throw your tac vest on, and then you can carry, again, kind of like how I've got in here the quick bar component. You've got more than just the 3 slots. Maybe you can you can now carry, 2 extra grenades or something like that. But when you're covert, you can only carry, 2 maximum. I might have to change the code because I don't think these are, what is this one? That's going to be in set stats. I'll have to look at that. That's going to be in the fragments. I think it's in equipment maybe, inventory. Yeah, set stats. So I'm going to have to play with this to see what's callable, what's not. But yeah, I think that'd be kind of cool, right? And you can increase ammo size and everything like that, carrying capacity. So the next one is this fragment pickup icon. Oh, I may have not changed that. This is a skeleton or a skeletal mesh. That is a pain in the butt. I did not realize I did that. So let me go back and show you what I'm talking about with that. Sorry. Okay, so we're going into content, carbon weapons. So M67, I think this is the M67 that I'm using. Oh, I've got a skeletal mesh. Maybe I just didn't change it. One of the cool things, new? Oh, that's the new. Oh, this is the old. Never mind. I was right. Sorry about that. One of the things that you can do in 5.6 is you can actually make skeletal meshes. It's pretty cool. So, oh yeah, convert to skeletal mesh right here. Yes, it literally just, you right click, convert to skeletal mesh. And you need the static mesh. I know it takes up more space, modern day programming, I guess. But so in here for the projectile, you need just a static mesh. But then for your pickup, you need a skeletal mesh. Make sure you have both. I think they're skeletal, but like I said, you can just convert it to, or I'm sorry, I think they're static, you can just convert it to a skeletal mesh. Some of them, I think I did a skeletal mesh and then converted to a static mesh and then had to convert back to a skeletal mesh. Sorry, I know, it's a lot. I'm talking a lot, I'm sorry. Index number 4 is your reticle. I don't have one. So I don't have one on the grenades. It's one of those things that I'm not doing reticles. If you put down your gun, I think it's only when you aim, right, on my game, but you could add a reticle. And then the last one is weapon slot. So that's that custom one that I did in one of my other videos. And then it's 3, right? Because grenades are always in 3. Inventory is always in 3. So that is that one. And then the last one is the WID M67. So again, we've got ability set M67, actors to spawn. We're going to do this B grenade M67. Attachment socket weapon R. If you follow to my others where you swap your left and your right shoulders, you've got the weapon left. And then I think these, normally you can do like 90 and -9, just did 0. It's a grenade. It doesn't really matter when you're holding it, how it is in your hand. But so that's it. So those are all of the abilities. And I think that's it. Once you have all of those, that's how it works. So now you've got your pistol equipped. And equip a rifle. And then get ready to throw the grenade. Throw the grenade. Or I can equip this. And I can still throw it either way once it's equipped. Oh, too far. So, anyways. That is it. So, I hope that works. If you guys have any questions, comments on that one, if you have those answers to some of those questions, awesome, dude. Leave it in the comments. If you have any questions for me, leave them below. I try to answer all of them. Sometimes I miss them. I'm so sorry. And then, yeah, stay tuned because I've got other grenade types coming shortly. I will see you guys next time.